everyone. Welcome to the Sleepless Cinematic Podcast, where we explore our shared love for watching and discussing movies recorded in the late after-work hours, often in lieu of a good night's rest. I'm Madeline.
I'm Julian.
And I'm Emilio. The three of us are colleagues at a Midtown Manhattan music school. Yes, music is what brings us together, but movies are what keep us together, talking at the end of the night. So we've created some order to this ongoing trend by recording these conversations, considering an overarching theme while we cycle through 5 unique guidelines for engagement.
You can email us at sleeplesscinematicpod@gmail.com. Seriously, we'd love to hear from you. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok for updates, highlights, clips, and other visual supplements to the audio we record at Sleepless Cinematic Pod.
In addition to these main episodes, we record and release bonus one-off episodes as we see fit. While we do this, you, the listener, can count on the three of us doing what we've grown to love, forgoing sleep for a discussion about movies every other week.
And this week, we continue our current cycle of movies we're calling Holiday Suggestion Box, or what I'm calling Holiday Gift Box, where each of us elects a holiday-themed film for the group to discuss. As usual, at least one of us will be seeing this movie for the first time, and differing opinions may or may not be held among us. So guys, what movie, what Christmas classic, holiday classic are we covering today?
I'm super excited. The movie that we're going to talk about is none other than Home Alone, the 1990 holiday classic, written and produced by John Hughes, directed by Chris Columbus, starring Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern, Catherine O'Hara, John Hurd. There's a cameo from John Candy in there too.
What a cast.
I know.
It's what a Candio.
Yeah, there you go.
Very good.
My goodness. We're coming with the puns right away. And to discuss Home Alone, we three are not alone. We have a Holmes. Jamie Holmes, to be exact, forgoing sleep for a second time this calendar year to talk movies with us tonight. She's an extremely talented musician, an inquisitive mind, and a lover of films, something that you'll no doubt know if you follow her on her socials and check out her great content. And if you're not already doing that, please rectify that now. She's on Instagram and TikTok at jamie.homs, the period between there. She is also out here on these streets. She is walking red carpets, doing conventions, dangling from skyscrapers. We're excited to have this daredevil back with us. Jamie, thank you so much for being here.
My goodness, what an intro. Thank you so much, you guys. I'm so excited to be back.
Yeah, glad to have you back.
Thank you.
We are delighted to have you back. This is a movie of our youth, I feel.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
The
Most
three
of your
us.
youth.
Exactly.
Until this week.
I guess I'll address the elephant in the room now. I'm the first timer here that I hadn't seen Home Alone before this week to prepare for this episode. Jamie, the last time we had you on the podcast was to discuss Grease, which was another canonical American film that I somehow had not seen. And, the one little comparison I'll make between the two, and specifically my circumstances for having not seen either of them before we decided to discuss them, was that I think that when movies are as well known as these two are, there can be this illusory sense that you kind of get the gist already.
Yeah.
So I felt like, I hadn't seen it, but I wasn't sure that I needed to. I did need to in order to really discuss it. And same goes for Home Alone. I think, before we get too deep into discussing Home Alone, there's a couple other titles that you don't want to confuse this film with. And we should not confuse Home Alone with We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Very
knew it
good.
would get that
Oh, that's
reaction.
great.
That is the 2011.
Oh, what a freaking dark movie, too. Oh, my God. Okay.
Yeah, the 2011 Lynn Ramsey directed film starring Tilda Swinton and Ezra Miller. I haven't seen it yet, but I know that it's a very, very dark film. But there's a couple
brutal.
of...
It's super dark.
It's so dark. It is a parent's worst nightmare come to life.
I mean, this movie also is, in some ways a parent's worst nightmare.
I guess it's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, so
That
there
is
you go.
the
Not
one
to be
similarity
confused.
between these two.
Yes, yeah, definitely not to be confused
And
there.
I will say, we are talking Home Alone, and we're not talking Home Alone 2. And I have to say that I've seen both of these movies a lot. I think I've seen Home Alone 2 more often. I do think that they're so connected in people's minds that, when Dougie and I were watching this one, by the end of it, he's like, I don't know that I had ever seen this start to finish.
Oh.
He's like, I think now that I've rewatched it, I've seen Home Alone 2 a lot more. But I think if you've just grown up watching both of these during the holiday season, you could definitely get certain parts of them confused.
There are beats that are very similar between the movies.
Oh, absolutely. I would watch them back to back. So
Yeah.
when I watched it front to back today to prepare for this, I kept expecting certain things to happen. I'm like, oh no, that's in the second one.
Exactly.
Yeah. The weird like bird lady. That's the second one, not
I
the
love
first
the
one.
bird lady.
Yeah. Brenda
She
Fricker.
reminds me of Mary Poppins.
Yeah, totally. Feed the birds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should also say that although Home Alone would eventually have sequels, as we just discussed now, we should not confuse Home Alone with Home Again, which is the Reese Witherspoon film where she's like a recently separated mother, and I guess she lets like 3 hunky guys into like her pool house.
That sounds fun.
I don't know. It's just what the trailer seemed to tell me. So not that film. No.
We should also not confuse Home Alone, not because of its title, but because of its setting and some of its themes. We should not confuse it with Risky Business.
Yeah.
A little bit.
True.
Yeah, but whereas Home Alone is about an 8-year-old, Risky Business is more like that with an 18-year-old.
There you go.
Also set in a suburb north of Chicago.
Thank you. Good.
And
Geographically.
yeah, I mean, it's in that an 18-year-old is intentionally left home alone. And an interesting other connection, though, is I think both of them get famously reduced to like these very brief moments.
That's right.
Yeah.
Where it's, at Home Alone, it could be Macaulay Culkin screaming into the mirror. With Risky Business, it's, of course, that old-time rock and roll, Tom Cruise dancing with himself scene, which is, if you watch the movie, it's a very, very brief moment.
It's so quick.
Yeah, it's so quick, and the movie is Risky Business is a much darker film with a lot more going on.
For sure.
Yeah, so it's a couple of salient similarities, but no, Home Alone and Risky Business, different movies.
Yeah. So we should not confuse Home Alone with any of these other films.
That's true.
Normally at this time, we would recap the plot a little bit, but the name kind of tells you exactly what's going on.
That's one thing that I think is beautiful about this movie.
Totally.
I
It's
think
brilliant.
More movies, not all movies, but I think more movies should just tell you like the synopsis of the film just in the title. Like you get what you get.
Yeah.
You know what you're in for.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Unlike Grease.
Exactly. It's not a greasy enough movie.
No.
And if you're coming in completely cold to Home Alone, which is an intentional pun because, winter weather.
Yes.
You also might not guess, about the whole burglary subplot in it. But I mean, if you look at the poster, it's right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Have any of you ever been left home alone? Not like quite like this, but like, was there a moment where your parents accidentally left you home alone?
No, and because like I had an older brother, so there were times when they left me with him, but he's 7 years older, so it's like I have no memory of there being a point where he would have been young enough that it would have been an issue for us to be alone together.
Got it.
Like by the time I was forming memories, he could just stay with me if they were going somewhere. Although generally my dad would pull me aside and be like, "Really, you're the one watching him," but
Okay.
Yeah. I have one memory of being left home alone, but it couldn't have been more than just like 5 minutes. There was another question you posed ahead of the conversation of like, what would you do if you were left home alone? And my answer, which was not in the multiple choices you gave, was freak out. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was a little kid and I didn't know what had happened.
How about you, Jamie?
Well, my parents are musicians. They were in a band my whole life. So they would work Wednesday through Sunday, and then eventually it was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, then Friday, Saturday. So I, at a very young age, had an au pair. It was a family friend from Austria. She wanted to go to art school, so essentially she would watch me, and while my parents worked at night. But then it got to a certain point where she moved back home to Austria, and my grandmother was living with us. This is long-winded, but I'm getting there. My grandmother was living with us, and my grandmother would go to sleep at 8:30. And so from a very young age,
as grandmothers do.
Yeah, from a very young age, I was by myself.
Gotcha.
Till my parents got home, I would put myself to sleep at a very young age. So I'm very used to being alone. My husband knows that sometimes I just need to be alone. I'm also an only child. So, but yeah. But as far as accidentally, I remember I got lost in a police station one time. My parents were picking up like it wasn't anything nefarious or anything like that, but they were picking up some kind of like tags for the car or something. I don't know. And I was in the elevator and they got out and I didn't. And so I rode the elevator up and down and then I just sat in the lobby. And of course my mother was freaking out.
Of course.
But I remember, I think maybe I was 7. I kept thinking to myself, I'm in a police station. I mean, like, how
dangerous
I'm pretty
can it
safe
be?
right now.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're somewhere in the building. They're going to have to come out this way.
It's not like it's a funeral parlor.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly. Which was an ad lib, by the way.
Oh yeah, I think pretty
sounds-
much. I think they said almost all of John Candy's lines are ad libbed,
Yeah.
which I absolutely believe.
Yep. And
Yeah.
that was he'd filmed all of his shots in 24 hours. It was the only time that that he could give them, and he was paid scale, so he made less than the pizza delivery guy.
Yeah, he made like
yes,
$400.
Yep. And that line was one of the last lines they recorded.
Really?
And he was just delirious.
Yeah, it was like 5.
No pun intended.
Yeah, exactly.
Emilio, were you ever left home alone?
I was. It's family lore, actually. Yeah, I can't remember exactly how old I was. I was younger than Kevin. I was probably 5 or 6, but it was one of those classic moments where my mom thought I was with my dad. My dad thought I was with my mom. And suddenly I was alone. And I pulled the whole Kevin bit where he's like looking around saying, "Mom?" And I was just looking around. And I went to my neighbors and I knocked on their door and I told them, I think I got left home alone. And they invited me into their home.
That's very kind of them.
We've discussed it a tiny bit on this podcast, I think, or maybe off mic. I don't know. But I had the coolest neighbors ever.
Yeah.
So it was actually like a nice formative experience for me because I went over and they were like, let's have some ice cream and watch TV. And so we did that. And then my parents came home and they were so embarrassed.
Oh.
And I can only imagine now being a parent how unbelievably embarrassed I would feel. So yes, I was left home alone, but I had really rad neighbors. Unlike Kevin in this moment.
Unlike Kevin. Yeah, I mean, I was home alone once when I was old enough to be home alone when I was like 11. And my brother, who had moved out at that point, he actually this was like before cell phones. He had been traveling like kind of cross country and he came home and we didn't know to expect him. So when I was like 11, at home alone and just hear somebody knocking on our door, which is like very unusual. For like people don't just go knock on doors, you know.
No, yeah.
So, but he did the like penny and a haircut knock. That's very weird.
Yeah.
But
it's familiar. It's like trying to express familiarity.
Yeah, but it was weird, but it also did kind of tip me off. Like this is probably a person I know. Like if someone is trying to rob my house, they probably aren't going to do that particular knock
unless they're a serial killer.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like kind of like peering,
unless they're actually there to kill you.
Trying to look through the window.
Yeah.
I mean, there was also in my life when I was a little older, like 11 years old, there was one time when my parents were going out to like run errands, get the groceries or something. And I think, asked me if I felt okay being alone. And I was like, you know what? Sure, I do. And then, it was mostly like an hour of just 11-year-old ennui. But one thing I did do to take advantage of that time was that I was, of course, I was left alone with the television and, just was channel surfed a little bit and decided to turn on a few minutes of Saving Private Ryan. Not at a particularly violent point.
Yeah.
But I just, I watched a few moments of it for the thrill of like, I'm watching an R-rated movie and my parents aren't around. But I turned it off after a few minutes, not because I was rattled by anything, but more because of, this is my young cinephile mind operating. More because I was like, it's kind of in the middle. I don't really have context.
I'd rather not ruin it.
But also it's like, I haven't really had the right setup for this. I'll come back another time.
Got it. I'm not surprised you turned out the way you did then.
Oh, yeah. I would use the time that my parents were gigging to absolutely watch movies I should not have been watching. 100%.
For me, Home Alone was a movie that my parents did not want me to see.
Yeah. Interesting.
It was one of those kind of like The Simpsons, a little bit like South Park. My mom kind of had this thing where she, instead of saying to not watch it, she would try to incept maybe this feeling of like, oh, this is not a good movie.
It's not good.
It's not worth it to watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like putting hot sauce and Coca-Cola so that your kids don't want to drink soda.
Or no, she wouldn't even do that. She would just Jedi mind trick me into being like,
Yeah.
you don't even want to try that.
Actually, this is
No.
gross.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to regret doing it. So just don't. Let's have that milk.
Yeah.
And so, but you know what? The call of Home Alone was way too strong.
Yeah.
All of my friends had this movie on VHS. This was a classic VHS movie.
For sure.
And so I definitely saw this movie first at a friend's house. I don't have a great memory of it, but I definitely know I did not watch it on TV and I did not watch it in our home.
Yeah.
I will say this. We talk about Home Alone 2. I might have seen Home Alone 2 first
Yeah.
because I went with my dad, who I think was doing last minute Christmas shopping. And I was like, can we go to the movies? And my dad was like, maybe. And then we definitely saw Home Alone 2 in the theaters.
Yeah, my brother saw Home Alone in the theaters. He would have been 5. And my mom still talks about like our grandmother took him and how like the two of them just came home just like falling over laughing. Like they loved this movie, like my brother who was 5 and then our grandmother. And that's something that I think is very interesting about this movie is that the charm can work on a 5-year-old and like a 65-year-old.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Similar to Grease.
Exactly. And similar to Grease also, I have no memory of watching this or Home Alone 2 for the first time. Like they have just always been in my life. I feel like I watched them a lot on TV. I feel like they were played on TV a lot. We maybe also had it on VHS. This movie was just always there, although I need to ask my brother if he actually remembers seeing Home Alone in the theater, but my mom does attest that yes, they did go see it.
It's just one of those movies that appeals to everybody because, the beginning part of it, he's the kid and he's eating popcorn and jumping on the bed and blah, 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 blah. But then he becomes a little upstanding gentleman.
Exactly.
He literally decorates the house where I don't know where he found all those Christmas decorations, but
we're going to have to come back to that.
Spotless.
Yeah. We're coming back to that.
Giving advice to neighbors. So, of course, then the mom and the grandmother's going to be like, oh, what a charming kid. You know what I mean? It appeals to everybody.
Yeah. Now, this was your first time seeing this movie, Julian.
Yeah.
And I'm slightly curious, like the filmmakers of this movie have said in interviews since this movie became a massive hit that, there was this careful balance that this movie had to strike, that Kevin had to be bratty, but ultimately very likable, and that the adults had to be kind of harsh, but end up being very sympathetic. And, the wet bandits, they had to be threatening, but not too scary for the children viewers. And I feel like the movie's tone is kind of interesting because it has to be flexible enough to celebrate the mischief, but also has to pivot to sincerity.
Yeah.
Because it definitely goes there. And I think as a kid, it's very easy to forgive when a movie shifts tone. You're just like, oh, he has this great interaction with his neighbor. Oh, he's beating up the burglars. It's all good.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering for you, seeing it with adult eyes, I'm wondering if Home Alone kind of succeeds at managing the tone.
I thought it did. I mean, I guess now is a good time for me to just say my assessment of the movie. I liked it. I had fun with it. And I think that's exactly what's supposed to happen. I mean, we're going to keep calling back to Grease, because Jamie, you're here again. But also, I mean, a difference between this experience and what I had with Grease was that Grease, I found it fun too, but I think maybe, just because of my life experience and the time that I was born in and exist in now, that I just kind of didn't get the 50s nostalgia element of it. I didn't really feel anything like that with Home Alone. I just kind of thought, yeah, this movie, it's very of its time, but it's transcendent too.
I actually think this movie is very effective at being kind of timeless.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's that much that plants it that firmly in the 90s.
But to go back to your question of the tone of this movie, I think I noticed moments where it makes some tonally big swings, but I never thought like, oh, wow, that's jarring. I thought like, yeah, it's a fun kids movie. It's kind of doing what it's supposed to do. I think the most arguably jarring tone shift in the movie that I'm thinking of was, when you go from that heartfelt scene with the neighbor in the church to, immediately when that's done, Kevin, Macaulay Culkin's character goes, I must defend my home. Yeah. And then remembers that those burglars are going to come and then just, goes full on with his defense plan.
Right. I feel like the last half hour of the movie is the most sincere and also the most like violent, for a PG movie. And so, I'm with you on that. I got to say though, even though it does come with a pretty dramatic tone shift, I don't know of too many scenes in movies that make me on a primal level go like, let's fucking
Yeah.
go. Quite like when he's leaving the church and the John Williams score kicks in. And I mean, it's got those like programmed drums, but like whatever.
Yeah.
It like does something to me.
Like it starts with the Carol of the Bells.
As a kid, that scene completely hooks you because
and
you're like
he has the map, which I think that they said on that commentary that Macaulay Culkin actually like did the map himself.
Oh, he did his plan for all the booby traps.
Yeah, all the booby traps. But they were also like, why does he need a map of his own house?
That's true.
He lives there.
I also there's like a whole like timeline thing, and I know we're talking about how excited that gets me on a primal level, but under close inspection, there's a lot that seems to happen in the manner of like
an hour
or two or something.
And there are some things like with him hooking up his like escape rope into the treehouse.
Oh yeah,
I was like, wow, he must be like a Boy Scout or something. Like he tied a very effective knot that is like able to hold 2 adult men.
I want to come back to that a little bit later for sure. Also, now
that you're saying that, the sequence in a movie that immediately came to mind where I'm like, let's fucking go, was the third act of Hot Fuzz.
Oh, yes.
Yes, dude.
Yes.
Love that movie.
Yeah, where it's just like after they escape that church meeting and, the greater good and all of that stuff. It's just, as soon as Simon Pegg and Nick Frost come back together, then it's just like, it's 0 to 60 and the momentum stays up for the whole time.
Right.
Yes, totally.
But to go off of all these points and to just continue a little bit about my assessment of the movie, I mean, another thought that was very big in my head while watching was like, well, this is not at all realistic from the beginning.
No, it's cartoonish.
Yeah.
It's like Three Stooges, Tom and Jerry.
Yeah. Why is nobody upset that there's a cop in their house?
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
But also just the freak out of like, wait, where's Kevin? Would have happened a lot sooner in real life, I think.
Maybe.
With responsible parents, that is.
I think they do.
We should talk about
let's talk about this because I think they actually set up like a lot of reasons why it took so long that seemed totally plausible. Like Catherine O'Hara, she assigns the oldest and most responsible niece to do a head count.
She delegates, which is something that parents with a lot of kids do.
Yeah. And that niece or whatever is old enough that she should know how to do this, and it's really not her fault that she miscounted because that freaking neighbor kid comes in and messes up the count.
Yeah.
That and when he spills the milk the night before, they throw out his boarding pass.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right, because it all gets covered and it just gets
covered
dumped
and
in the
they
garbage.
put it in the
throw
trash.
that in the trash can.
Yes.
And then they're running through the airport. It's 1990. You don't go through TSA. Like you don't go through security.
Yeah.
You literally just roll up to the gate. Did we make it? Yes. They don't even have assigned seats.
Yeah.
They're I think the parents do because they're in first class. But then the gate
It's a very 90s move right there.
The gate agent is like, just take whatever seat's open. Like, so all these kids are just filing in, trying to find whatever. They're probably separated because all the other seats are taken. So
Because they're late.
Exactly. Because they're late. So, and then the parents are in first class. I have a lot of grace for these parents. I think that there are a lot of things that add up to that being totally reasonable that they didn't notice until they did.
There's also this detail that is always so funny to me, which is the way that the power goes out.
Yeah.
There's this slight intimation that there's something supernatural going on.
There's like a magic.
Mm-hmm.
He wished it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Totally. That's my favorite of the themes.
Yeah.
That one.
Me
That
too.
one's so,
Yes.
I mean,
John Williams is the goat.
Come on.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That sets a tone in this film.
Oh,
The
totally.
music absolutely elevates the whole film.
Ties the whole thing
overall.
together.
Yeah.
The producers and everybody involved were like, we're not going to get John Williams. But he was shown the film and he just really took to it.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I love is that you got a very motivated John Williams because he'd never done a Christmas movie before.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the greats do, he was like, I've got an amazing Christmas carol in me. And somewhere in my memory shows up.
So good.
I know.
Yeah.
And it's so
I just got goosebumps.
I know.
It's so good.
It's so good. And so, you get this like highly motivated John Williams coming in being like, I want to put my stamp not just in the movies, but on Christmas music.
Yeah.
Like to think about John Williams writing Christmas music, it's not a stretch in the mind. Like I think, his compositional style lends itself very well to that sort of tone of music. So even as I'm just like listening to the score, now there are a lot of moments, and I think these were a lot of them were very intentionally designed, where I couldn't tell if this was an existing Christmas Carol or just John Williams being himself.
Yeah, because I think he does, like we mentioned Carol of the Bells, like he samples a few existing Christmas carols for the score. I just want to say that Bruce Broughton was supposed to be the original composer on this before they hired John Williams.
Oh, that's right.
He works. He's also an active, like, working composer. The Rescuers Down Under is what Bruce Broughton did instead of Home Alone.
Oh,
Wow.
Okay.
that's a dope score.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Well, I think everything worked out the way it should have, though, right?
think
Yeah,
so, too.
absolutely. I'm very happy to have this John Williams score. I mean, John Williams has obviously a lot of banger scores. It's hard to choose a favorite John Williams score. You have so many to choose from. But I think this is one of his best. I think it's really, really excellent.
I agree.
Yeah, there's a show called The Soundtrack Show on that you can find. It's just a podcast. It is incredibly well done. There's a really good 3-part one on Home Alone. And one of the little details, and I don't want to ruin too much about it or poach too many of the wonderful observations that are in that, but the first couple notes of Somewhere in My Memory are that minor third, da, 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 which is quite literally like every child's song. Like the na, 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 na. Like, oh my God, there's a zillion of them. Like rain, rain, go away, da, da, da.
Well, isn't there a Christmas Carol that has that too?
I mean, most likely.
What in Frosty the Snowman?
Frosty. Yeah, that's the first one. Yeah.
Somebody once told me.
Yeah. Isn't that a fifth?
Well, it's Buddy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So you're skipping the first note.
Yeah.
But it's the fifth and then the minor third immediately after.
Gotcha. But yeah, so I love that little detail, and it's a small thing that on a subconscious level, I think we just respond to.
Yeah.
We feel like a kid again when we watch it.
Totally. I wanted to get back to, I know you were asking Julian about like your kind of impressions of the movie, and I was also just curious as to what you knew about this plot before watching it. Like, because like you said, these movies like Home Alone and like Grease, like they're so ubiquitous that you kind of feel like you might just like take this in, just existing in the world.
Yeah, I mean, in many ways, that is something that totally happened for me with Home Alone, whether it's, I mean, I mentioned earlier those famous images of Macaulay Culkin screaming into the mirror.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, there were like some of the gags that happened in the final act with the two burglars played by Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern. I knew some of the things that were going to happen there, like the paint cans swinging down the stairwell, stuff like that, or like the blowtorch gag as well.
I love that one, by the way. The blowtorch gag might be my favorite one.
Yeah, it's done with mirrors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's
good to know.
That's a moment that really brings out like Joe Pesci's ability to be like a Three Stooges type of actor.
Yeah.
You know, because we know him so well. And this is the same year as Goodfellas, too.
Dude,
that's crazy.
That is the real like Pesci-sance right there. For real.
Yeah, but we know him so well as being this fearsome gangster that, I mean, you know, he's not the only actor like that who's great at playing scary as a, you know, dramatic way, but also playing like an over-the-top slapstick humor as well.
Yeah, I mean, I keep saying people refer to him as like Yosemite Sam in this movie. And yeah, I think definitely kind of whenever he's hurt, like when he's shot in the nuts, like kind of the like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like just on the edge of saying some much worse things.
Yeah.
But I think the part that I didn't expect more was mostly like the first act, like seeing exactly how Kevin gets left home alone.
Yeah.
And a lot of the supporting cast members, I mean, that's an interesting thing for me watching like famous movies like this that somehow I hadn't seen already, is seeing some of the character actors who appear.
Yeah.
And I mean, Catherine O'Hara is a big name, but like, you know, I didn't have a sense of her presence in the movie before just watching it this week, or like John Hurd. Or even John Candy. I didn't know that he was going to appear at all. I wasn't surprised, but I definitely enjoyed him appearing. Like the whole thing with the scary neighbor too. Like I had no sense of that before.
Yeah, I really enjoy him.
That was originally not in the screenplay.
Yeah, that wasn't in the first draft.
Yeah, in the first draft, John Hughes is very famous for having like incredible first drafts.
Yeah.
But this was apparently a Chris Columbus note that Kevin is able to, you're able to see some maturation come out of his character.
Another difference in the first draft is that apparently Uncle Frank was going to be in on this whole Wet Bandits thing
Ooh, I
in
like
the
that,
original
actually.
draft.
No wonder he's such a shit
Yeah,
in
he's
this
so
movie.
mean.
Oh, he's a schmuck.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
really is.
So if he was like tipping them off, then absolutely.
Wow.
That'd be quite the twist.
That would be. Yeah. He wouldn't have been in the sequel, I guess.
Probably not.
Or maybe he would have gotten out of prison with
With the
the
other
Wet
two.
Bandits. Yeah.
That could have been a good fan theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of fan theories out there about this movie.
That they're all dead. Like
Not that.
we were, last time we talked Grease, like Sandy's dead.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Sandy's
That's
dead the
right.
whole
Or, you
time.
know-
It's not like Kevin's dead the whole time.
No.
That's the
Kevin
theory.
grows up to be maybe Mr. McClane.
Okay.
Well,
that's right.
There's a huge Die Hard theory.
Oh,
Yes.
really?
There's a fan theory that Kevin grows up to be him, and there's a ton of character similarities and lots of other similarities too.
Yeah.
So you guys should definitely look into that. It's pretty fun.
I wonder if that is a compelling argument for Die Hard to be a Christmas movie.
It is a
Yeah.
Christmas movie. It's a
Okay.
Christmas movie.
Okay.
There's a
Yeah.
Christmas party. There's Christmas decorations.
Yeah, I don't think
We
there's
also-
an argument there.
We get to make
people
these
get
declarations.
so upset.
We also know how much you love Bruce Willis, so anything
do.
that would,
Yeah.
help canonize the film more, I'm sure.
Yeah. But then,
That's
like,
right.
some people say if you watch Die Hard, grading it on plausibility that John McClane would die 4 times during the course of that movie. And, well, there's no moment during Home Alone where I thought, oh, that would kill him. But there's a couple of moments where I thought, just to point out the unrealism of the movie, where, like, in real life, like that scene where he climbs the shelves and they all fall down, like, he would get a concussion from that.
Yeah,
Oh,
even
Yeah.
the stuntman, I think they said that was a tough day for him.
Yeah.
On the subject of stuntmen, this movie has some of the best stunt work
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
all time.
And apparently, while making it, whether it was Chris Columbus or it was John Hughes, they were like on their toes watching these stuntmen do some of the things.
Yeah, I mean, like when Joe Pesci's character falls down the icy stairs, I mean, there's the second time he does it, he like lands on his head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
straight up.
So Chris Columbus says, like, I didn't think that guy was going to get back up.
Wow.
Shout out to the stunt guys, Troy Brown for Joe Pesci and Leon Delaney for Daniel Stern.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, this movie also is famous because of the exaggerated manner in which these falls and slams happen. They, in the film biz, have literally called that kind of commitment to the bit the Home Alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I respect it.
There is a really funny, I can't remember which content site did this, but they got like an ER surgeon to come on and diagnose every one of the hits that Harry and Marv hit.
Yeah.
And no human being would be able to go through like 2 or 3 of those without being.
They wouldn't have even made it through the door.
I know.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have an M burned in your.
That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
when I'm like, I'm out. There's
Yeah.
nothing in this house that is worth that.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah. No.
He's been branded.
You stepped on glass. You
Yeah.
stepped on a
Yeah.
nail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
this-
feel like at that point, it's less about like we have to get what's in this house, and they're like, we can't let this kid win.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what
exactly.
he says in that moment. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm going to kill this
Yeah.
kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's right. You're right. At some point, it starts to.
An iron.
An
fell
iron
off
on
Yeah,
his
yeah,
head.
yeah.
Yeah, and also that, well, I'm sure that the writers of A Quiet Place were fans of this movie because of that nail thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
'Cause-
Oh, that's right. The like covering them out.
yeah, but it's just a memorable scene on on basement steps with a nail poking out.
right.
Yeah,
right, yeah.
it's just like, yeah,
a
Quiet
good
Place
one.
goes further with it, but I mean, it's like, come on, we know where you got that from.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, also,
Yeah.
I love that. And we're talking about the stunts, the fall, just the pure dead fall back off those steps. It's just fantastic. I mean, it just looks so good when it
Yeah, it
happens.
does.
And
Yeah.
there's some great camera work in that whole sequence too.
Yeah.
Like that shot of Daniel Stern's face poking through the cat flap.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like from below. Yeah.
And when Kevin shoots him with the BB gun, you know how you get like just a couple of frames of like the BB goes into the camera,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
that's like hand painted.
Really?
Yeah. They said that they did it for like $600. Like, I guess one of their editors, like, actually is like in their basement, like drawing on the little bullet. So you
Wow.
get that for
Yeah.
just a couple of frames.
Got it.
That's
Wow.
I mean, a commitment to
Detailed.
the craft.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, that's why this movie has endured.
Yeah.
yeah.
Another iconic moment from this movie for me is the tarantula on the face.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
And the yell that he gives is,
Yeah.
I mean, that right there is worth the price of admission.
Yeah, that's a
Like,
real tarantula. They were
Yeah.
going to use a mechanical one and it looked too fake.
yeah.
Yeah. I read somewhere that the scream was dubbed later
Yeah.
as to not scare the tarantula.
Yeah.
Oh,
heard
that
that
makes
too.
a lot
I'm
of
not
sense.
100% sure if that's true,
No, I
but
heard that
yeah.
too.
No, that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
Now
Yeah.
that I think of it, like watching it in the moment, it did feel a little bit like juxtaposed in the
Yeah.
scene.
It worked for me.
It
I-
totally
it
worked.
worked.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
worked.
yeah,
Yeah, it's not that I didn't believe it, but I think in thinking practically about it, I was like, oh, that probably wasn't done in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense.
Yeah,
But-
I kept thinking while watching that sequence specifically, like, I would have loved to experience people's in theater reactions to this.
oh,
Yeah, like
yeah.
not knowing
Totally.
what's going to happen. That would have been a really wonderful in theater experience.
Yeah.
I agree.
I also just have to say, we were talking about like crazy fan theories with this movie. On the commentary, Chris Columbus, so this commentary, like I said, I think is recorded in 2006. Chris Columbus says that a couple weeks prior, he got a call from somebody making an Elvis Presley documentary. Somebody that thinks that Elvis Presley is still alive. And they're making a documentary about this and how he faked his death and he's still alive. And the guy calls Chris Columbus and he says, we heard, or I think, that Elvis Presley is an extra in Home Alone.
What?
And Chris Columbus is like, no, like, you're crazy. I don't know what you're talking about. But they point out the specific guy. So like when Catherine O'Hara is trying to get home and she's in like Scranton, I think, somewhere in Pennsylvania.
The airport there or something?
At the airport. There's like a guy that's slightly behind. There's like a woman that comes up and talks to the gate agent, and there's a guy behind her. And it's like that guy who you can get a good look at. He's like kind of tall and bearded. And people think, I don't know how many people, might just be this one guy making a documentary. People think that this is Elvis Presley.
That's incredible.
Well,
It's insane.
well, that's another connection to our Grease conversation.
There we
Something
go.
about Elvis
Yeah.
dying.
Yes.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
Elvis being a specter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a question for you guys. I think part of the charm of this movie is its ability to tap into pretty universal childhood experiences. And we talked already about like, you know, being left home alone when we were kids. But I think there's some other examples that Kevin goes through. Like he has tension with his older siblings, particularly his older brother. We talked about Old Man Marley. Like he has this kind of neighborhood boogeyman that everyone is like spreading rumors about. He's like afraid of his basement, which I can absolutely relate to.
Big time.
And he like wants to posture as an adult. He wants to like go grocery shopping and do laundry and whatever else are just a few examples. So I'm just curious like how successful this film is in relating to your own like childhood experiences.
Yeah, there was a particular portion of the movie that I found very relatable to my own childhood, and that was the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, before this accident occurs that leaves Kevin home alone, and there's
Yeah.
just such an emphasis on him being a loner throughout this movie that I kind of was, even if he is someone with siblings, I was, you know, feeling some resonance with my only child self watching that opening sequence because of like being ostensibly the youngest person in the room and kind of struggling to get an adult's attention.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you do try to stand up for yourself, like somehow you get punished for it.
Yeah.
On my mom's side of the family, I'm the youngest of 6 cousins. And, you know, not having siblings, I think, you know, I really understood a lot of my relation to other people and close to my age from how I relate to my cousins. I love them dearly. They're some of my very favorite people in the whole wide world. But it's, you know, when we were younger kids and I hadn't really cemented those relations yet, and I was kind of just struggling to find my place amongst family members who I didn't see all the time. There were some moments I had that where I felt very much like Macaulay Culkin in the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
And so then when he ultimately gets punished and sent upstairs, I mean, I never had anything like that happen to me, but I really could remember the feeling of like as a kid, you do something that a parent sees as wrong, but you don't really feel guilty about it. Not to say that you feel like mischievous. You're just kind of like,
You're like, I don't understand.
What did I do?
yeah,
I did.
exactly. That was the portion of the movie that really hit me.
The basement.
The basement,
Yeah.
absolutely.
The basement.
That's why
for
I
me.
included that because that was mine. Our basement was unfinished, and so it was very dark and it was very drippy. And my childhood cat was bit by a spider down there and died. So I was like,
Oh,
I'm
my
gonna
goodness.
get bit by a spider in my basement and die. So I still don't particularly like going into my parents' basement in my 30s. So yeah, definitely basement for me.
Yeah. We had also an unfinished basement. My dad had all of his power tools and power saws down there. And so it was like really loud. And also I was terrified of the fact that these things could like take off my arm.
Yeah.
No matter what it was, every time I like turned my back to like go up the stairs, I ran up the stairs.
That is
of my
absolutely.
basement.
I also never wanted to go down there barefoot. I was like, I have to wear shoes in this basement.
Well, the spider. I mean,
the
of
spiders
course.
are going to bite my feet.
Yeah, I didn't have a basement, but the whole concept of like when you turn off the lights to go up the stairs, I'm running, I'm sprinting, I'm skipping 3 steps at a time.
Yes.
My parents' house, when we lived in California, they had big windows and like a decent sized backyard, but it was pitch black. And so that always creeped me out. So whenever I turned the lights off, and mind you, my parents are at work.
Yeah.
So
totally.
my grandmother lived in her little area downstairs and my room was upstairs. So when I turned the lights off, I mean, I was by myself. So I would absolutely sprint. So that resonated with me. But aside from that, not a whole lot else of this film really resonates with me at all, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think any of us lived in houses the size of this family's house, which is gigantic.
Enormous. Absolutely enormous.
But where there's something a little bit closer to something relatable for me is that it's set north of Chicago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That setting as a place to go during holiday seasons, I could definitely relate to that. I still live that.
For me, I think there is just a general feeling when you are a kid that a little bit to what you were saying, Julian, where you just kind of feel like nobody's really taking you seriously.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel like that's something that this movie captures really
Really
strongly in those opening moments. One little detail that went right over my head as a kid, but as an adult, now makes me crack up is when I can't remember if it's his sister or his cousin is like, "You're what the French would call les incompetents."
Yeah.
And, it's just like he just gets barraged with these things left and right. And then you got his Uncle Frank, look what
jerk.
you did, you little jerk. And it's just like, it just gets so burned in you.
And one of his older brothers, the one that goes on to be in Adventures of Pete and Pete,
okay.
he calls him a disease.
Brutal.
Very mean.
Terrible.
Yeah, rough
It's a
stuff.
kid. My goodness.
Yeah.
And
What's wrong with you people?
The other kids have some amount of excuse because they're children. Uncle Frank has no excuse. That
Uncle
guy
Frank
is a jerk.
Sucks.
Dude, these people seem like I watched it again today. And as an adult, right? And I watched this last year too, but I was really watching it today. These are the worst people.
Yeah.
I hate all of them.
Yeah.
They're terrible. They're loud. They're rude. They're messy. They're inconsiderate. I hate these people.
Yeah. You know what just occurred to me in the original script? If Uncle Frank was supposed to be in on it, he has that moment on the plane where he's like, "It's real crystal. Put it away.
Yeah.
Put it away."
So you're saying he has like a criminal tendency?
He has criminal tendencies. I get it. That was a little vestigial organ from that first draft.
But, to go on from this point of like the kids struggling to be taken seriously, I mean, I really appreciate it in movies when child characters are portrayed with the emotions that they actually have.
Yeah.
When I think about like effective portrayals of children in film, I mean, we talked about E.T. a few months ago and how that movie is so effective at conveying a child's emotions. But like in more recent times, I mean, the first movies I think of are more often like indie films like Room or more recently like Janet Planet, things that show young kids with full emotions.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also thought when it comes to like treating children characters with serious emotions.
Harry Potter.
Well, Harry Potter,
which
absolutely.
Chris Columbus directs.
There you
several
go.
of
And
those.
great connection.
Mrs. Doubtfire, another Chris Columbus film, maybe.
Yeah.
One I have not seen.
Ah.
I know we have to fix that. I know
What? You haven't seen Mrs. Doubtfire?
I have not.
You've been a Doubtfire, dude. It's so good. All right, sorry, go ahead.
But
It's good. It's a good one.
But like the other connection I was thinking of at actually a few points watching Home Alone was not to a movie, but to a TV show, to Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a show that I think is very good at conveying the authentic experience of being a kid while also accessing all the serious emotions that exist at that time.
Yeah.
There are some very far-fetched things that happen on that show at times, but I think for the most part, it feels very relatable for better or worse.
Okay, so I had a couple thoughts.
Yeah.
If Home Alone were made today, what do you think would change in the story and the character behaviors? Because we're adding technology in here.
Big time.
Yeah.
You know.
We said at the top, there is, I think, plausible deniability for the mom and the parents for having left Kevin alone.
And they can't get a hold of him because the phone lines go down.
So yeah,
They can't call.
I do feel though that the movie loses a little bit of the credibility in that, because where she like gets on the phone from Paris and she like can't articulate.
Dougie was like, tell them how like old he is.
Exactly. So a little bit of that falls apart. And I do think that with technology, you're going to cut to the chase so much faster on a lot of these things. And there's Wi-Fi in the house that, you know.
He has an iPad.
Yeah. And it's like, he may not have a phone yet because he's like 8, although some 8-year-olds have phones, I guess. He may not have a phone, so they may not be able to call him. But I feel like they could much more easily have gotten in touch with one of their neighbors. I understand that everyone's supposed to be out of town, but they could still get in touch with them, even if they're like in today's society.
Right.
Even if they were out of town, and then this person calls this person, you post on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
somebody goes over to that kid's house immediately.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I also think, you know, there probably would have been more violent outcomes for the robbers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, possibly.
I don't know. That
And
just
he'd
makes
be
me.
filming the whole thing for TikTok.
He would be live. He would live stream the whole thing. He would be live streaming it. He would be on Twitch, live streaming that
Absolutely.
shit. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that.
You get like a first person look at those paint cans falling down.
He would have multiple angle shoots.
Yeah,
He'd have a
for sure.
GoPro.
Yeah, exactly. GoPro.
And it, you know, maybe Kevin grows up to be like a pretty toxic teenager or adult because of that, because, you know, he just develops a talent for capturing people's pain on
I
camera.
think he's like radicalized by this experience.
Maybe then he goes on to be part of like Jackass or something.
Well, that leads me to my second question,
Yeah.
which do you think Kevin's personality would have changed if he hadn't been left alone? Because he has a real maturity in this.
Yeah.
You know,
He
like
does,
he's not
yeah.
afraid of the basement anymore. He, you know, he's facing his fears and he then learns to love his family. But if he had just been grounded, they didn't leave him in that attic. He's on that trip with them. He's being ignored again. He's feeling left out again. How would that have?
Yeah, because he not only does he mature, but he also, as you said, he learns to love his family in a much deeper way. And yeah, I fear that if things continued throughout this vacation the way that they were the night before everybody left, then it probably would have continued to kind of push him like further apart from his family emotionally.
Yeah.
Well, it makes me think about how, you know, at least among my generation in this day and age, like the way that people talk about processing trauma, there's like a lot is said about people who were put in parental positions at a young age as being like a contributor to trauma. So if you're looking at this movie from like a more realistic angle of what's this going to lead to, maybe like this sense of responsibility that he and resourcefulness that he develops from this experience becomes a little too much, and that he like, you know, he ends up just kind of like grasping for more than he can reach at premature ages. And, you know, he's convinced he's doing good for himself, but he ends up just kind of maybe like spreading himself too thin and rushing his development.
Yeah,
Wow.
totally.
Yeah.
I mean, but the way he sets up these like boogie traps is like Dougie said, like this kid should be in Mensa.
He really should.
Like he is a certified genius.
Yeah, he also does that whole thing with the mannequins and the train set and the Michael Jordan.
Which apparently
cutout.
in the novelization of this, they confirmed that Catherine O'Hara is a fashion designer. So that's
was
why
gonna
there's so
ask.
many mannequins
That's
in their
the
basement.
That makes
exactly.
sense. That makes sense.
That was a very Ferris Bueller moment.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that moment.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
I love that fake movie too.
Yeah.
Oh,
All the
angels
fake-
with
Yeah.
filthy souls
You
or
were
whatever.
gonna, I don't know that we really had time to get into this question, but you were gonna ask like what is something that went over your head as a kid
Oh, sure, yeah.
that solidified for you on rewatch? And I always thought that movie was real,
Oh yeah.
and it's not.
Definitely same here.
Yeah.
Same here. Yeah.
But yeah, that was just always my assumption, is that this is a real like kind of random noir movie that I'm not familiar with because I'm 8.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not a real movie.
Nope. No.
I was fooled watching it as a 27-year-old. Like
Exactly.
I thought like, oh, for sure this is a real movie, but no, they actually went to the trouble of filming that.
And the in the
love it.
DVD that I had, they did like have that separate, that you could watch those scenes uninterrupted.
Oh, that's great.
And once you're actually watching it, you're like, okay, now I can tell now that this is not a real movie because it is so cheesy. And you don't fully pick up on that during the actual movie when there's like dialogue around it and the scenes are split up up a little bit. When you're watching it like condensed,
yeah.
When you're watching it on a grainy, boxy TV too, it can fool you.
And he's pausing it constantly in order to get the right sound bites to freak people out.
He convinces two different people that they're being shot at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he doesn't
How are
actually
there
shoot
no
at
cops?
them.
Yeah. It's kind of like.
You would think the pizza kid would have called the cops. Like Marv, he's like, I'm trying to break into this house. I don't want any heat over here.
Exactly.
But the pizza kid is the first one to experience it.
Right.
Yeah, that's a moment where, you can kind of, I don't like to say this a lot, but you can excuse the lack of follow-up on that. It's like, oh, it's a movie.
I love how this gag evolves because I like how with the pizza kid, it's like he's trying it out, but then when Marv comes back, he puts like the firecrackers? The firecrackers like in the pot to make it actually sound like Marv is being shot at. So he's like, I am improving on this.
That's true.
If somebody else comes, like
that
maybe I'll actually.
Mind.
Yeah.
But that's, maybe that supports my idea that there's a possible arc in Kevin's future where he becomes kind of toxic too.
You think he's a sociopath?
I don't definitively think that, but witnessing what he does at this age and speculating about what comes up in the future, I guess you sadly can't rule that out.
He is capable of violence.
That kind of goes into my last question, which I will sum up like this. What if this movie was directed by Scorsese?
Okay.
Well, you'd still cast Joe Pesci.
I would say, too, that in the Scorsese version of this movie, Pesci is unmuzzled.
Yes, exactly.
And he's able to swear as much as he wants.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny that you put it as the question as what if Scorsese directed it, because I think the Scorsese movie that is most similar to Home Alone is After Hours, which is a comedy.
Yep.
And
there you go.
Which also has Catherine O'Hara in it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, just to show that, like, yes, Scorsese is known for grittiness, but he can do funny things in a movie too. And I think After Hours, interestingly enough, is a good bridge between, those kinds of sensibilities for him.
Yeah.
Also just, because we're talking about like the different ways you can portray what happens in this movie. I mean, because this is just about a child experiencing a lot of moments of ennui, I kept thinking throughout watching it, I really want to see like the Jim Jarmusch version of this, where it's like the ennui is emphasized and there's all these like silent scenes where he's kind of just like walking around and you don't see him just deciding to make the ice cream sundae and watch TV. There's a lot of just, blank staring before that happens.
Yeah.
Or maybe like the Italian neo-realist version where it's a little more like Bicycle Thieves.
Yeah.
This is going straight off the dome here. I do not have notes about this, but one of the traditions, I think, on our podcast is that we like to entertain the possibility that maybe something that we see in the movie, it did not actually happen.
Yeah.
I think there are enough little details in this movie to suggest that, and I don't want to like ruin anybody's childhood when I say this, but that maybe Kevin is made up the burglars.
Ooh.
I like that.
Yeah. And this would be like a Shutter Island type Scorsese movie here.
Totally.
So one detail that is so convenient about this is that the way Kevin gets them busted is by having them go to the neighbor's house.
Yeah.
So there is this ability for him to be completely removed from the actual police involvement that would have happened in the apprehension of these.
Yeah. Even when he calls the police, he gives them that address.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Gives them that address. And then also some of the details in this movie, like how quickly this kid is able to take a house that's completely in shambles.
Yeah. Spotless by the time Catherine O'Hara
Not just
walks
spotless,
in.
decorated for Christmas.
Decorated. Yeah. I mean, there's like property damage that he is somehow able to like
There's
reverse.
tar.
Well, that's another thing that made me think of Risky Business.
There you go.
It's
right.
like somehow it's all so squeaky clean except for that one glass orb in the living room.
Yeah, and in this, it's like, oh, he did not bother to clean Buzz's room.
Right. I think there's that. This is such a small detail, but there's that scene where you talked about the zip line that he creates from the attic to the treehouse. When he cuts that cable, there's a lot of slack on that cable.
Yeah.
And maybe there aren't two adults hanging from it.
Yeah.
So there's that. I will say, I think the movie does try to convince you that this really did happen because you do see the tooth.
Right.
The tooth, yeah.
That the dad picks up that is found in the house. But I gotta say, that it's very possible that Joe Pesci
who's
might
an
actually be
actual
a
cop.
real cop.
Yeah.
And he was in that house, and maybe that cop recently had some dental work done
And his
and was
tooth
like,
just fell out.
was like, hey, let me just show you this gold tooth, and it's not properly set.
Yeah.
And then it ends up in the house.
Yeah, I guess that's possible.
Yeah.
I always thought that the neighbor was not real.
The neighbor ends up being the one who bonks them on the head. I think he is also not real. I think this is all a figment of Kevin's imagination.
He's in a coma.
Exactly. He's in a coma. Yes.
Because I like the idea that, he is actually left home alone and he's terrified and he needs some way to like solidify that fear.
Yes.
Because he knows like if it's just that he has to be home alone for a couple of days, like that's scary for an 8-year-old, but he'll be fine.
Right.
But if then burglars are coming into your house, then like that, I think, legitimizes the real like terror that he is feeling that he doesn't want to reckon with, because he did wish for this.
Yeah.
He wished for his family to disappear. He wished to have this home all to himself alone. So he's like, well, if I'm scared of what I wished for, then I need to find another reason to be scared.
Exactly. I want there to be a Fight Club style montage where you go back and Kevin is just throwing paint cans at thin air. So I don't know. I decided to go there.
Yeah. I mean, I like this theory that you're proposing, Amelia, because I mean, that's just a lot of the things that happen in the movie. It is even in the attempted robbery scene. Some things are just too convenient to be true. But that's why it's fun to watch as a movie, the living in the fantasy of that. Also, I kept thinking, another thing that justifies that idea is that when I was that age, I would have had a wild imagination.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to speak to that, another thing that Chris Columbus talks about in the commentary is there were a couple of kind of fantasy sequences that they cut out, like that they did not ever film, I think, just because of their lack of budget. One of those things was that the basement furnace was supposed to come to life and chase him around the house.
Interesting.
Another one was that when he falls, I think he's supposed to fall asleep watching Angels with Filthy Souls or whatever it is, and then like all the Christmas decorations come to life and chase him around the house.
Oh wow.
Kind of like a la the Nutcracker.
Okay.
So I think that further solidifies your theory, because they did not have the budget to do these things. So they're like, well, how can we, add this terror in a different way?
Right.
In reading about it too, it looks like, maybe my sense is a little distorted, but the budget was not that high on this movie.
18 mil.
I have a little thing I want to get into about this budget.
Yeah.
This absolutely blew me away when I heard about this. Home Alone was originally greenlit by Warner Brothers with a budget of $10 million. Pre-production starts. They're crunching the numbers. The producers realize the budget's got to be a little bit higher. And they get it to $14.7 million to be exact. And John Hughes is like, it's totally cool. I'm John Hughes. They're going to cut the checks. It's all good, right? Warner Brothers comes back to them and says, is there any way you can do it for 13.5? John Hughes and his team are like, we've already done all the number crunching on this. It's going to be 14.7. And Warner Brothers is like, sorry, we're going to pass on this movie and we're going to shut it down. Now, Hughes apparently saw these cold feet coming. And so he made this side deal with people at 20th Century Fox. And he's like, in the event that Warner Brothers passes on this movie, would you guys be interested in it? And will you do it for this budget? And Fox is like, cool, we'll totally do it. Luckily, they pick it up. And we have a holiday classic to enjoy for the rest of time because
and then
of that.
Whoever the CEO of Warner Brothers was at that time is kicking themselves to this day.
Well, I want to get into this because it was $1.2 million, okay, that this whole thing was, they passed on this movie over $1.2 million. Home Alone was the highest grossing domestic box office hit of 1990 and made almost $286 million domestically and $475 million globally.
Yeah.
That's $1990 right there. So adjusted for inflation, we're looking at like almost $700 million domestically, over $1 billion globally. Warner Brothers only released one film in 1990 that was even in the top 20 of highest box office performers of that year. That was the movie Presumed Innocent, which is quite a good film.
It is.
It was the 8th highest grossing film of the year, but that movie made less than half of what Home Alone made that year at the global box office and less than a third of what it made at the domestic box office. Again, $1.2 million, okay? So according to Wikipedia, Warner Brothers Studio either bankrolled or co-produced 16 films in 1990. A low estimate of the total budget of all these movies $335 million, which makes the figure that they quibbled over, $1.2 million, less than 0.36% of the budget. The total grosses of those 16 films was about $545 million. So if Warner Brothers had spent just 0.36% more, they would have almost doubled their box office profits in 1990.
With
Hindsight's 2020.
one movie.
One movie.
Yeah.
How bad do you
God.
think they want that one back?
Pretty bad.
Oh my God. People are getting fired over this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. $1.2 million.
Yeah.
All it would have taken.
Whereas it was 20th Century Fox that
20th Century Fox.
yeah, whoever took that deal,
Yeah.
they're getting a promotion.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
Yeah.
going to put that on their tombstone.
Yes.
I greenlit Home Alone.
Exactly.
But also, like, at how deep John Hughes is into his career at that time. I mean, it surprises me a little bit that, that there was this limited budget for the movie. He's like well established at this point.
Oh, yeah.
It almost seems vindictive.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of, right?
Yeah, someone didn't like his last movie.
Like over that small amount.
Yeah.
I know.
Considering
Someone
you're
had a
big
problem.
studio?
Someone had a problem with Uncle Buck.
I know, right?
Yeah.
yeah, they were like they're eyeing Macaulay Culkin for this part, and I do not like that kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you brought up Macaulay Culkin, but as much as we've talked about the movie so far, I don't think we've said very much about him yet.
Yeah,
It's
I
true.
think you're right.
You
I mean,
know,
he's spectacular in this.
Yeah.
he is. So obviously, this is a very overdue viewing for me. And I don't think as much as I've known about him, as long as I've known about movies, I don't think I've ever actually watched anything that Macaulay Culkin was in
That
before.
doesn't blow my mind because this is his defining
the
role
movie.
and,
It
and the
is.
sequel to this.
But there's other movies.
There are
There's
other
other things that he appears
There
in.
are other movies, but
Yeah.
like these are the movies that
Yeah.
people so closely associate with.
And it's
him.
interesting that his
Yeah.
brother, in my opinion, has now become
He's won
more
an Emmy.
relevant.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, the success of this film will always put Macaulay
Above.
above.
Yeah.
But I know Kieran Culkin better.
Yeah. I mean,
He's
By
won-
far.
There's-
won
Going
an
to see on the
Emmy.
Pepsi.
Yeah.
more things that you can watch with him in it. I mean, I know at least 3 of us have watched Succession most of the way.
Oh,
through.
yeah, absolutely. I've
Yeah.
seen the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah,
Amazing,
Succession.
That's
Now there's a Real Pain as well, which he's great in.
I had
Actually,
3 people today tell me I got to see that.
I was lucky enough to see that early at the New York Film Festival,
Yeah.
and he was there. He showed
Oh,
up for
cool.
the Q&A afterward.
That's awesome.
And I think he is in person very much like you imagine him to be.
I believe it.
And
And he's in this movie.
yes,
Yeah.
but I missed it though.
You missed it.
I did
You
not
gotta
identify
go back
him.
and watch this movie.
Yeah,
It's right at the beginning. He says, I don't live here.
That's right.
He's the cousin that Kevin doesn't want to share a bed with because he wants the bed.
Yeah.
I'll know it watching this time, but I think the image of him as an adult is what's burned into my brain.
Yeah. Do you remember when they're all kind of fighting when they spill the milk or whatever? And there's
Yeah.
like a
Gets
kid that
smushed.
gets smushed like up against the wall with a
Yeah.
chair.
It was
That's-
Uncle Frank.
That's
I mean,
Kieran Culkin.
Come on.
Mm.
That's, I mean,
Uncle Frank.
fuck
Yeah.
that guy.
Fuck
Seriously.
Yeah.
He's the jerk.
he is
Yeah.
the jerk. He really is the jerk.
So, Julian, you had never seen this movie before. You had also never seen Grease before,
Mhm.
which we discussed. And the last time you joined us, Jamie.
Yeah.
And that's like another hugely successful, like mostly family movie that a lot of people feel a lot of nostalgia for. And this movie is really different from Grease in a lot of ways, but I still think it kind of taps into a similar feeling, like in my
Mhm.
heart and in my brain.
Yeah.
And during that episode, we were like, what was it about Grease that made it such like a breakout hit? I mean, both of these films have everything I've read and listened to during the production of both of these movies. I don't think either of them, like the cast and crew, really knew how much of a hit they had on their hands.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So what is it about Home Alone that we think resonated so deeply with audiences and made people want to, like, this was a movie that people saw multiple times in the theaters.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Why? Like, what is it that like warms our heart about this movie and like makes it worth coming back to, 30, 40 years later?
It appeals to everybody.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's family friendly.
Yeah.
But it's violent enough to where it's funny for
Exactly.
It's funny
Yeah.
for adults.
I do think like there are a lot of these kids movies that are so geared towards kids, they don't have enough fun stuff for the adults.
Right. There was something a little bit taboo about this movie
Yeah.
in the house that I grew up in. And I'm pretty sure that my parents thought that this movie was going to give me ideas. It absolutely would have and did. And I think it's one of the sneaky, brilliant things about this movie is that it's a family movie, but it's got a lot of mischief in it. And it's a holiday movie with a little bit of violence. Not quite Die Hard, but, and so there's something kind of edgy about this movie when you're young. And I'm speaking just, the appeal to a kid at this point. The biggest thing this movie also has going for it, I think, is that it is pure child fantasy fulfillment.
Yeah.
It's wish fulfillment. It's this idea that you're like, you could do anything you want and you can get something over on the adults. I think a movie that taps into that the way this movie does is just going to appeal to young kids.
Well, but then you have the 180 too, because you get all that fun stuff at the beginning. You get all that, the kid in you.
Yeah.
All the
jumping up and down the bed.
Checks,
And,
boxes checked.
Right.
Then the parents get the satisfaction of seeing that. See, he did all of those things, but look at what a nice little gentleman he's become.
Yeah.
He loves his family. He decorates for Christmas. He cleans the house.
Yeah.
He went shopping. Look at how great it is to be mature.
He bought fabric softener.
He bought fabric softener. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the parents then get the satisfaction of the end to where, he destroyed the house, but he also cleaned up the house. You know what I mean?
All but one room, yes.
All but one room.
Yeah.
The older brother's room is the one to leave messy.
Right,
It's
of
fine.
course.
Yeah.
Or destroyed.
Also, screw him. He's coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
He has that one kind gesture right before that moment, but then, it's very quickly upended.
That's true. It's like, you didn't burn the house down.
Yeah.
High five. Okay.
Yeah. And I think you said it well, Emilio, that it's like pure childhood wish fulfillment. It's like all the ways that a kid wants to be a good child, but also it scratches all the childhood mischief itches too. And it's just, even for the moments that couldn't happen in real life, I feel like the big swings are not so big that it just goes completely off the rails from any kind of plausibility. Watching it, you're more like, it finds the sweet spot between plausibility and implausibility in that way.
Yeah.
Even though falling down those ice steps would have done it for me.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. Landing on your neck the way that Joe Pesci's character does.
Well, I think
iron to the face.
That's
Iron to
part
the
of the
face.
fantasy that it perpetuates.
Right. Well,
all these
I'm
things-
going to go back to that.
Yeah.
Well, I did want to ask you guys really quick. One of the things that this movie brought up for me was, what would be the very first thing you would do if you had successfully wished your family into oblivion and just had unfettered access to your childhood home? A, would you do something your parents explicitly ask you not to do? Maybe eat popcorn while jumping up and down on your parents' bed, fire a BB gun in the house, maybe sled down the staircase? Would you B, go through your siblings or your parents' personal belongings? Would you C, eat all the junk food you possibly can? D, would you watch a movie from your parents' collection that they forbid you to watch? E, would you try to be as grown up as possible and maybe run some errands or do something around the house? Or maybe F, all the above.
Ha.
That's hard for me to answer because my parents
You're like,
trusted
I
me.
could have done this.
Like
Yeah.
I would
chose
say the
not to.
movies. Yeah, the movies were the biggest thing. Like
Yeah.
I was very trusted,
Yeah.
which I'm so grateful for. And
Yeah, that's great.
We were
But-
all too responsible.
Mhm.
yeah, but I definitely watched R-rated films that I shouldn't have been watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there were a couple channels that maybe I found that I should not have been watching in high school.
My parents
Right.
had
You
our
know,
HBO
things
cut
like that.
off for that reason.
there
Oh,
was
gotcha.
there was one time because my dad used to smoke, and I would always see his cigarette carton. So I put on a bathing suit. And I put my hair up in a towel so that my hair wouldn't smell like smoke. And I went outside of the
smart.
backyard and I took one puff in and literally
You're like,
coughed
"This
until I was
sucks."
red. And then I showered. I brushed my teeth like 12 times to make
Like,
sure
"They're
that
gonna
nobody
know if I
could
don't
smell.
do this."
Yeah, I was maybe 14 or something. Yeah, so I did. My parents know about this already. But that was the one thing. And I never had parties. I don't know.
Well-
I guess I was pretty boring.
I, like you, am an only child. And so I don't know if it's the only child thing, but the other honest answer I have to your question, Emilio, is that I probably would have tried to be a grown up and like do something responsible.
I absolutely believe that you would have tried to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe not go all the way to like do laundry or something, but perhaps maybe like try to cook something that might have satisfied me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I would have felt like I cooked that.
Nice. How about you, Madeline?
Yeah, I mean, I think that realistically at that age, I wanted to be trusted. And so also I wouldn't have wanted to do things that I knew I shouldn't be doing because I would assume that they would notice or catch me, and then I would not be allowed to be left home alone again. But I always wanted to do that, like slide down the banister that you see in movies.
Yeah.
Me too.
And I still haven't done that. So I kind of want to go back and do that. But my parents always, not anymore, but when I was a kid, they would keep their turntable like kind of right on the first floor next to where the banister is. So if I fell off, I would have been falling like onto a turntable. So
no.
I think I was too afraid.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
That's really
Yeah.
gonna hurt if I mess this up. It's probably harder than it looks.
Got it.
My parents also did not allow us to chew gum in the house.
Oh.
Interesting.
So maybe I would have chewed some gum outside of the kitchen.
Okay. This feels kind of lame, but I'm like you guys. I honestly think, I mean, it's no wonder the three of us found each other. The same thing happened. You're like, the way you put it, Madeline, is so perfect, which is I wanted to be trusted.
Yeah.
I would have probably went and like, I'm going to go take our dog for a walk.
Yeah.
I think the closest thing would be like, I'd want to watch something. But my parents didn't have a whole lot of movies. So, and we didn't have cable either. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and I probably I had neighborhood friends on our block, so like if I was actually left alone, I probably would have done what you did in reality, which is like gone down to a neighbor's house.
Right.
And like protect me, or like you guys have the good video games.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But another thought for me and like why I would have tried to do something responsible was that I like would note adults, supposedly adult procedures and think like, well, someday I'm going to have to learn how to do whatever this is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
Why not start now?
So you're like,
Yeah.
I got to do my taxes.
Not taxes, but I remember as a kid being totally bewildered by how like credit cards worked and stuff like that.
I think a lot of adults are still bewildered by that.
Yeah.
I think so,
Yeah,
too.
I think so too.
Yeah,
it's magic, right?
It's a pretty Byzantine
yeah.
world.
It's not even real money.
Yeah,
No,
it's
it's
monopoly
literally
money.
not.
Yeah. Are there any little details you want to shout out about this movie?
Well, something it just occurred to me actually while we were talking, and this is a pretty, I think, on the nose aspect, but I mean, Old Man Marley, that has to be a Christmas Carol reference because Jacob
Yeah.
Marley.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's just one of the ways that this movie connects itself to the greater zeitgeist of Christmas films.
For sure.
Something that I noticed today that I had never noticed before is when he goes to see Santa Claus, right? And he sees the fake Santa Claus getting in the car, you
I
know.
love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And he's like, I know that you're not the real Santa Claus. Like, I'm old enough, I know how this works.
Yeah.
But I know that you work for him.
Yeah.
I just found that to be so cute.
It's
Yeah.
wonderful.
It's
I love
adorable.
that too. It's a bait and switch
Yep.
for the characters in the movie to be like, he's like, oh, okay, he gets it. And then he's like, but I know you work for me. He's like, oh,
Yes,
okay, all right.
I do.
I can still talk to this kid like there's some suspension of disbelief.
And it's a great way of
Yeah.
explaining the fake Santa Clauses.
And
That's
that's
true.
I think
Yeah.
good in keeping this a kids movie because otherwise you're like, this movie is telling kids there's no Santa.
Oh,
Right.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're
Exactly,
absolutely right.
exactly.
But this
Yeah.
explains it away. They're like, well, this guy's not Santa.
But he works for him.
he works
Yeah.
for Santa.
Yeah.
Santa has his guys out there. He was bidding for him.
And when that
Yeah.
Santa then, like, after they have their little convo and he tries to drive off and his car stalls out, that actually happened. Like, he was supposed to just drive off, but the car didn't turn on. So,
It's hilarious.
That's fantastic. It works really well too.
yeah.
For that. Yeah.
Yeah, thinking about like other Christmas movies that have to do with Santa being real that also stretch reality. I mean, that scene made me think of Elf quite a bit. Yeah, because it's like, that
Sure.
movie suggests that Santa, or it operates on the idea that Santa is real, but you do get commentary sort of like that as well,
Yeah, I mean, I thought you were going to say Miracle on 34th Street.
which I've never seen.
Okay, we got
Here we go.
I mean, you've seen part of it because it was in this movie.
That's true.
That.
Yeah.
Other than that.
You should watch both of them.
Yeah.
They're both great.
Yeah.
John Hughes actually produced the one in the 90s with
Did he really?
with
Yeah,
Richard
I knew that.
Attenborough as the supposed Santa.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I love the original Miracle on
Oh,
34th
yeah.
Street. It's
So
like
good. It's so good.
maybe my favorite Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I want to know how you guys rate John Candy's clarinet playing accuracy.
I'm in no position to judge there.
Neither am
Yeah.
I.
I mean, I don't know a lot about clarinet, but I think D. Like, I don't think he's pressing any valves.
Yeah. Two quick points I'll try to make here. I think this movie takes some cheap shots at the musicians.
Mhm.
I know they're touring musicians, but they throw them under the bus real fast about how bad of parents they are.
And that, again, like Jamie was talking about earlier, that's all ad-libbed.
Yeah.
So I don't know what John Candy's like opinions of the musicians he knew were.
Well, he hadn't slept in 24 hours.
That's true.
That's true. Maybe he's getting a little loopy here. But the other thing is, when you listen to them play, they're not that good.
No, they're not.
Yeah, but they had a hit.
They had a hit.
They sold 600 albums.
Maybe in the Midwest, or maybe for that genre of music, that qualifies. I will say, though, in their defense, it is cold as hell.
Yeah.
And so that's probably doing something to their ability to tune together.
And they're just in the back of a truck.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't think they get heat back there.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it probably doesn't matter if it's good or bad music. Any music is a relief.
Yeah. I can see that.
Although I believe the drive from Scranton, Pennsylvania to Chicago, that feels very long.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to polka that whole time, then it might get old pretty quickly.
I was going to say, Catherine O'Hara is probably going to try to blow the brains out at some point.
They probably played their set several times over that whole ride.
Yeah.
But so his name's Gus Polinski. What is it, like the Polka King of Wisconsin or something?
Something like that.
Yeah. I also love how he's like, you know that song, that big hit, Polka, 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 Polka. It's like clearly not a song.
Yeah.
Polka, Polka, Polka. Yeah, you know that one.
But it's like that whole thing of like the so-and-so king of whatever. That's part of the John Hughes bag of tricks.
The Sausage King of
Abe
Chicago.
Froman, the Sausage King of Chicago.
Yeah,
There we go.
Yeah.
I'm going to pour cold water on something right now, which is the very last anecdote that John Candy has. I think it's tied a little bit to the musician thing, but he talks about like leaving his kid in a funeral home. It clearly, when I watched it this time, that actually like brought me out of the movie, because you could tell that he was kind of just going for something. And you can even see the kind of improv comedy thing happening between Catherine O'Hara and John Candy in a way that, like, for the first time I've seen, like, actually took me out of the film. And it happens in a moment when, like, you want to be really invested in the characters. I found it to be, like, kind of weird. That's the only bad thing you're going to hear me say about this movie, is that they kind of whiffed that moment.
I mean, I could totally see that.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
So this is branching away from little details in the film specifically, but there was this one. I've stated a lot of comparisons so far, as I am often wont to do, but one other comparison that I kept thinking of throughout this movie, and this is going to sound like a stretch at first, but there were just a couple of things about Home Alone that kept making me think of this other movie, and that movie was Moonstruck.
I love that.
I love
movie.
I love that movie.
I
so
watch
much.
that every December with my mom.
And I have been bringing up that we should do this movie on the podcast at some point in the future. So that can be your return again to us.
That's
if you're willing.
one of my favorites.
It's fantastic.
That's the one that I've never seen.
That's why I keep bringing it up. And you've only seen it recently, Julian.
Yes.
Nicolas Cage at that door.
Oh my God.
Looks like James Dean.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And my one viewing of it
missing
was
a hand. That's all I know.
My one viewing of it was on an airplane too. So I feel like I need to see it when I'm not feeling jet lagged. But both that and Home Alone have a significant portion of the movie where a major character is abroad and trying to communicate with another person despite the distance. But also there was like some tonal things about the two of them that really struck me similarly. Like I think that the conversation that Kevin has in the church with Old Man Marley made me think a lot of like the conversation that Olympia Dukakis and John Mahoney have at the dinner table in Moonstruck.
Okay.
It's at a similar place in the movie, and there's a similar sense of redemption that comes along there. And well, it's just, certain ways that it like the things come together in spite of the odds in both movies. I just kept thinking of the two of them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wanted to point out, Wikipedia says that they auditioned like 200 kids before they cast Macaulay Culkin. They were eyeing John Mulaney from like a sketch comedy, like kids sketch comedy group in Chicago.
Really?
I read that too.
But that his parents wouldn't let him audition. So I don't know if that's true. That's what Wikipedia says. And did you guys watch his recent SNL monologue?
Yes. I did.
So he makes a joke about like how old people have like big band-aids on the back of their hands. And in this movie, old man Marley has like a big band-aid on the back of his hand. And I was like the like Leo DiCaprio like meme.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. This is a really wacky one. There's a scene where Kevin is watching the Angels with Filthy Souls movie. It cuts back to the airplane, and his dad is reading a book called Nobody's Angel.
Yeah.
So there's that little thing, but there's this other weird thing about that book, which is that book is written by a guy named Thomas McGuane. Thomas McGuane was married to Margot Kidder. You guys know Margot Kidder?
Yeah.
Yeah. For like a cup of coffee. They like got married, and I think they might have had a kid. They got divorced soon after. You know who married Margot Kidder right after?
No.
John Hurt.
Oh.
I heard that he was actually reading that book on set, which is why they let him read it like on the plane.
But isn't that weird?
Yeah.
That he's reading the book.
For those listening, my mouth is agape.
Yeah, he's reading the novel of his ex-wife's ex-husband.
That's so odd.
It's weird, right?
There's a lot of stories about John Hurd being a famously difficult person.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that he like had a reputation for being difficult to work with.
Well, maybe this is a window into his troubled mind.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's one little detail that I really do love in this movie. There are these two very jarring cuts that are cued by Kevin saying the word mom. And they really, really jump out to me. So the first one is when he wakes up, he's wandering around the house and it's totally empty. And he's just calling out to her, and it just cuts so sharply to the shot of the commercial jet just roaring through the air. I love that. There's just something very cinematic about that. It just really works. And then the other one, which I just thought was very effective, might have even been this scene that I just talked about, where it cuts back to John Hurd reading the book. But, Kevin is like, everything is hunky dory. He's having this amazing time, and he's sitting in front of the TV. He's eating this 20 scoop ice cream sundae, and he's watching this movie. And when the gangland murder happens, this guy gets blown away. He freaks out, and it's the first time he's like, "Where's mom?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Mom."
That one's kind
and
of
she
heartbreaking.
hears it on the plane.
Well, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because that's the next cut. Like that's what kind of like, I think Dougie said something like, oh, like she has like her mom senses, like him crying out for her is like what jogs that in her, because that's the moment where she's like, we forgot something.
The magic of editing.
I know.
Yeah.
Well,
that early part of Kevin being left alone too. I mean, it just hit me that it makes me think a lot of like the feeling when you're a kid of when you wake up before your parents. And, you're just you're left, you have the house to yourself effectively if you don't have siblings, or if your siblings also asleep for a little while. I think there's a great freedom that you can feel in that interval of time. And like, that's, to the extent that it's fun to be home alone.
And your parents are still in the house. So it's like, there's that safety, not like in this movie.
If something goes wrong, they can still come to the rescue.
Right. Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think I've gotten everything. Did you have anything else, Jamie?
No, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Are we ready for Unlikely Shared Universe?
Yep.
Oh, we definitely are.
Let's go
All
for it.
Any particular person want to start?
I can start if you guys want.
Go for it.
Sure.
Okay, cool. So after returning to the Chicago suburbs from a shortened trip to Paris, Buzz comes home not only to find his room absolutely destroyed and his tarantula missing, but also, I'm going to say, with a broken trust in his parents. He gives Kevin a hard time, but I do think that there is a sensitive soul somewhere in there. And it is not lost on him that Kevin has been left home alone, and he's going to get left home alone again, or he's going to get lost in an airport and end up in New York. Exactly, when they're in Florida. And this plants a seed in his mind. And you know what? Pretty soon after, he decides to emancipate himself from his family, as he believes it is only a matter of time before they abandon him too. He ends up in the foster care system. He goes to high school in Delaware, where he befriends a teenager named Dwight, and they become fast friends. But Dwight experiences a life-altering tragedy, which is that both of his parents are violently killed. And this also destabilizes Buzz a little bit. Buzz, probably a nickname.
Yeah.
I think his real name is Ben.
I really hope his name on his birth certificate is not Buzz McAllister.
That's true. That's true. So I'm going to say, Ben also takes this tragedy pretty hard. And it kind of causes a little bit of a spiral in his life. So he becomes more reclusive, perhaps a little radicalized. He starts to hoard guns, listens to doom metal. And, Dwight leaves his life, but 20 years later, Dwight comes back to him, specifically looking for some help when the killer of his parents is let out of jail. Do we know what movie this is?
I have a guess purely because Dougie recommended an unlikely shared universe that I do. Is this R.I.P.D.?
No.
Because that was Dougie's recommendation.
Okay, all right. That's right. That's the one with Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did not see that
Ghost
one.
Police or something.
Yeah,
like
something
that.
like that.
Yeah.
No. Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, he got me.
That's okay. Blue Ruin. Does anybody know that movie?
Oh my
I do
god!
not.
I was wondering. I was
I do not.
wondering if that was it.
That's
I have
it.
seen that movie.
Okay, yeah. It's
Yeah.
a good movie.
Because oh wow, yeah, that's like it's a good movie, but it's like one of those movies where like what it's good at portraying is so utterly depressing.
It's so depressing.
It's bleak, and it's like I can recommend it highly in terms of craft, but in terms of vibes, it's just kind of like, oh, if you insist, if you want to go down that rabbit hole.
Yes, I totally agree.
The main character is played by Macon Blair, but he's the friend, right?
He's the friend, exactly. He's the friend who equips him with some guns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that movie.
I know.
Well, I can bounce off of that with something that's slightly happier.
Okay.
Huh.
More than slightly, I think. It has its ups and downs, but it's definitely a more positive fate than that.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
All right. So in the Scranton airport, Kate McAllister is approached by Gus Polinski, the Polka King of Wisconsin, or whatever the title was. And he kindly offers her a ride in the moving van that he and his band are traveling in. She is drawn in by a little more than just the kindness of his gesture. So even though this is not the style that she has become familiar with, polka, Kate McAllister is fondly reminded when she meets this traveling band of her own past career as a musician. And, she used to have a stage name too. She was called Mickey Crab. She had a songwriting and romantic partner named Mitch Cohen, and they toured under the name Mitch and Mickey, and they made records under that name too. They became famous for a signature song called A Kiss at the End of the Rainbow, before tumultuously and famously splitting up as both musical and romantic partners. And while Mitch wallows in his depression, Kate, now returning to her given name, eventually meets Peter McAllister, marries him, and they have several kids, Kevin among them. And years later, after the events that we see in Home Alone, when Kevin and all the other kids have grown up, gone off to college, it's possible that Kate and Peter have divorced at this time too. But whatever happens, one thing we can be certain of is that the notable folk producer Irving Steinblum has tragically passed away. A bunch of other acts related to Mitch and Mickey are coming back together for a memorial concert, and Mitch and Mickey are called upon to reunite for this too. I think a few people here know what I'm referencing.
Oh, what mighty winds are blowing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that movie so much.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one for sure.
I was trying to think maybe there's a Beetlejuice connection, or maybe there's like After Hours, but this was the one where as soon as I thought of it, I'm like, no, I'm going this way.
Yeah.
I was going to do Waiting for Guffman.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
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 I didn't, though.
That's
Oh.
okay.
That would
Okay.
have been a good choice.
I'll go with this one. So Kevin's cousin, Fuller, right?
Yeah.
He's actually adopted.
Mm.
And so about a year after this, his adopted parents say, you know what, we actually don't want him anymore. And his real parents decided to take him back in.
Well, I believe Uncle Frank would
Yeah.
be his parent here, and that sounds like something Frank would do.
That
Is
definitely
Right.
does, yeah.
As
his
an
kid.
adopted father, he's a jerk. So
Yeah.
he's just gonna send Fuller home. And so his real parents actually live on right next to a cornfield. And his real father is actually a pastor. So one night, tragically, his real mother, his biological mother, was actually killed in a car accident.
and but she gives a very interesting warning to the family. He has asthma, by the way, and she gives a very cryptic warning. And only a couple years later, aliens invade. Shocking, I know. And it's only because of his asthma that he and his whole family really are saved.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. So, do we know what movie this is?
This is Signs.
Yeah, obviously.
Yep. Signs.
I haven't seen that, but that's been like lingering in my mind for a few months, like because it's been on Max for a little bit, and I keep thinking, I've got to watch this because I watched a couple of other Shyamalan movies this year. We did an episode about Unbreakable, and then Trap came out, which I'm going to say for the record, good movie. Trap is a good movie.
Cool.
I agree.
need to get around.
It's unbelievably enjoyable.
Yeah, I like.
I had a great time.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's,
Signs is. Go ahead, please.
No, so good. You were going to say.
Signs is great.
Yeah.
I really love that movie.
Yeah.
I really do. This, even though some parts of it can be a little predictable.
Yeah.
Let's just say that it's a little predictable. It's a little cornball and some, but I eat it all up. I don't care. Even I know all of it, and I don't care. I freaking love that movie.
I do. I like Signs a lot. It lost me in the last like 10 minutes, but I still really enjoyed the ride.
I saw the movie in theaters, and I remember being pretty moved actually.
Yeah,
by the
and
ending of it.
it's one of my favorite Joaquin Phoenix roles.
Oh, yeah.
I think
he's very
he's
good in that.
so great in this.
Kind of understated, like a little bit,
So
but it's
understated,
good. Yeah,
so believable and real and just. Yeah, I really like
Yeah.
it. And I love Mel Gibson in it. And Kieran Culkin is absolutely spectacular. And oh gosh, what's the little girl's name? She was in Little Miss Sunshine.
Abigail Breslin?
Breslin, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and she's so great. I think it's her first film.
I think you're right.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
and
think
she's
that's her film debut.
a doll, and she's so good.
Yeah,
so,
she's adorable.
yeah, she's adorable.
Yeah.
So I love that movie.
I got to see that one again.
Yeah.
It's
It's a
been.
good
The last time I saw it was when it was in theaters. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Again,
long.
if you watch it, you're gonna pick up on stuff. You're gonna be like, oh, this is what's.
Yeah.
There's some cornball things in it. There's some cheesy, you know what I mean? But put that
it's
aside
worth
because it all lands, in my opinion, where it all should land.
Cool.
So I have another character that we talked a little bit about was Old Man Marley.
Mm-hmm.
And man, poor Old Man Marley. He reunites with his family at the end of this movie,
Yeah,
which is
that seems
great.
pretty good,
That
right?
seems great. But I mean, clearly he's been estranged from his son for a long time. And, not being able to build a relationship with his granddaughter is very difficult. And we don't know how long they were estranged or what the content was of that argument he had with his son.
That's true.
So I'd like to propose the possibility that Marley has kind of a difficult family history. If we go back like a decade plus, while he was previously living in California, Marley was deeply, deeply traumatized when his 5-year-old niece choked to death in the car belonging to her father, his brother. And distraught, her parents, which includes Marley's brother, took their own lives in that very same car. So
Jeez.
desperate to move forward with his life, Marley sold the car to a teenage boy who soon became completely obsessed with this 1958 Plymouth Fury. However, when this young man also tragically passes away in a car accident in this same car, Marley says, I've got to get out of here. He upends his family and he moves them across the country to Chicago. But he was never really able to truly move on from these tragic events. So he tried to keep them from his son. Ultimately, that pushed them apart. I think that leads to the explosive argument that Marley tells Kevin about in the church.
Wow.
But due to the loss of his niece so long ago, Marley is determined to form a relationship with his granddaughter, which is what leads him to the church on that Christmas Eve where he finally speaks to Kevin.
I don't even know if I know the movie, but I want this to be real. You've really set that one up. I like it.
I'm very happy with how this came together.
I'm just going to guess because I don't. Is this Christine?
Yes, a movie about a scary car.
Yes, yeah. I've not seen that movie, but I know you've gone through the John Carpenter
I watched
works.
a lot of the Carpenters when Blank Check covered him. And this is Christine, directed by John Carpenter. I believe this is 1983, maybe, but it's set slightly further back. I think it's 78.
Gotcha. Which helps the chronology.
Exactly.
For Home
Yeah,
Alone.
really, that's good.
Yeah, that was really nice. I'm with it. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I've got one other really short one that I can do to finish this off.
Go for it.
So one other very small character but memorable character in the film who we have not mentioned yet, is Officer Balzac.
Yeah.
One of two.
What a name.
Yeah, what a name.
Yeah, I mean, I said this off mic before we recorded, but I mean, not such a weird name if you're French. But anyway, so yeah, we see him along with another police officer in the scene when Catherine O'Hara's character, attempts to make a call to check in on Kevin when he's left home alone. But so this character, Officer Balzac, we don't learn his first name, but let's say that his first name is Joe. And I've established in a prior unlikely shared universe that there is a pipeline of curmudgeonly men in and around Chicago who eventually set up shop in Albuquerque. And so I would like to suggest that Joe Balzac, what a name.
Yeah. There's no way to say it without laughing.
Maybe just gets tired of his life in Chicago or decides to retire to Albuquerque, and then to sustain himself there, opens up a junkyard / trailer park. And then on, one sunny day, happens upon these two guys with an RV who are escaping a fearsome DEA agent and decides to lend them a helping hand.
Yeah.
I think that we all know where this is going.
Yeah.
I did not realize that was the same actor
until
just now.
He's one of those actors that he has a face that I'm like, I've seen this guy in plenty of things, but I didn't look up anything specific, so I appreciate you bringing this in.
I have to say, I love his understanding of the word domicile.
I remember that too. I noted that from that.
That is one of my favorite odd details about that particular episode of that character. He's like, this is my private domicile.
Yeah. And to be clear, this is, we're talking about an episode of Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Not be harassed or something.
I mean, it's a really good episode, but it's not like one of the definitive episodes of the series. Some might argue it is, but it's not like a big spoiler to say that like he helps Walt and Jesse win the little conflict that they're in. And that there's a, rather crass catchphrase that Jesse picks up throughout the course of Breaking Bad. And I think one of the more memorable moments of him saying it is in that scene.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I think preceded by the word domicile.
Yeah.
Guys, this has been real. It's
Yeah.
been cool. We talked Home Alone. Are there any final thoughts that we have about this movie?
I'm glad to finally have seen it.
Cool.
I think, even as an adult watching it, it's still very easy to enjoy. It's a lot of fun and it's easy to suspend disbelief with. And I think that in a lot of ways, I may have watched it with not as much of like a keen eye for detail as a kid, but I think just because I have those powers of scrutiny now, did not take any of the fun away for me while watching it.
Julian, burning question. Are you going to watch Home Alone 2?
My honest answer in this day and age is no.
Yeah.
And
because of one particular scene.
Because of an evil person who makes a cameo in that movie.
I mean, it's so brief that you can,
it's very quick.
Very quick.
Blink and you miss it. Just like go get the timestamp in advance and then like go to the bathroom.
I'll say this about Home Alone. When I was a kid, I thought that the whole burglary stuff was like half of the movie. And it's like 12 minutes.
Yeah.
It's very brief.
Mm-hmm.
I assumed it would have that kind of ratio too.
Yeah. Where it's like, because that is such a big part of how that movie lives on is that whole sequence. And in Home Alone 2, they definitely go like, oh, we're going to make this like 3 times as long.
Yeah.
And I actually think there's something fun about the fact that you get like maybe 5 or 6 like really good booby trap splats on the ground, and then we keep it moving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I do think that Home Alone 2 just goes like a little too far.
I almost wish you had just watched it right after you had watched the first one.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. That's how
they
you watch
feel
it.
so connected.
Yeah, they
really
do.
Yeah.
That just reminded me that we didn't talk about Joe Pesci and his golf.
Oh,
I don't know if we have time to just quickly tell people
Insert
what that's
that,
about.
please. Yes, our king needs to be acknowledged in this moment.
Just like Joe Pesci was very weird about the fact that he likes to play 9 holes of golf like before he starts filming for a day, and so he was very upset. Like with this film, since Macaulay Culkin, because of child labor laws, could not film past like 10 p.m., so they normally had early call times like 7 a.m., and Joe Pesci's like, it's too early for me to be able to play 9 holes of golf at 7 a.m. He was very upset about that.
He does not look like a golfer.
He does
really
not at
doesn't.
all.
But I gotta say, he's pretty spry.
Yeah.
In this movie, like all the way he throws himself around in moments where it's clearly him. That scene where he's grabbing the banister and his like feet are slipping.
Yeah.
He's really going for it.
Or like after they burn his head and he has to like shuffle back down the stairs like on his belly to put his head in the snow.
Yes.
Like he's going down the stairs on his stomach.
Yeah, he totally is. He's going for it. So yeah.
So to sum up, Die Hard is a Christmas film?
Yes.
And Kevin McAllister grows up. Yes.
To be
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's canonical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do they explain the time stuff with that?
I'm going to send you a video
Okay.
of this guy who's obsessed with this, and he like lays it all out.
Okay,
And it's
okay,
just
cool.
very entertaining. I
Okay,
mean,
that's
you
fine,
got
that's
to
great.
jump a little bit. You know what I
Oh,
mean? You
of
got to
course, of
stretch
course.
things, but it's
Yeah.
like, that's
Yeah.
fun.
I mean,
Yeah.
with period details, you have like Michael Jordan appearing, as a cutout in Home Alone. You also have like an Ice-T poster on one of the bedroom walls. There's like a Bruce Springsteen videotape.
There's this Bruce. I remember
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
It's if you're really keeping track of those things, that's where it might fall apart. But if you're not, if you're stretching it,
That's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
Chris Columbus did want to make a timeless film.
And I think he was successful.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, this is my favorite Elvis Presley movie.
yes.
yeah.
That's great. I love
Nice.
that.
More than Austin Butler, more than Elvis and Nixon.
Yeah.
And all of those beach party movies that he made in the 50s.
Jailhouse Rock.
Jailhouse Rock. Yep. Yeah. That's okay. I would understand. Home Alone's a banger. It's
Yeah.
good. Yeah. I mean, I love this movie. I do think that it threads the needle perfectly, being this movie that feels kind of edgy for kids, but also ultimately very endearing. And it is a movie that just, some movies, they're going to be like part of the fabric of your being.
Yeah.
And this is just one of those movies. It's
Dougie was not excited to rewatch this, but he was so in it. Like once we actually got into
I love
it.
that.
right.
And I
right.
think this is that kind of movie that you may not necessarily want to like sit down and put on Home Alone, but if you do, or if you like walk in as someone else is watching it, you're like, I love this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you're-
good.
I will not make you change the channel. I'm going to
Exactly.
watch it till the end with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Any other last thoughts? No? All right.
Well, I mean, more broadly, less about the movie, but Jamie, it was great to have you back.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having me.
Amazing.
It's so
Yes.
And I have to say, too, it seems like you are going to be the go-to guest for canonical movies that I somehow haven't seen. So let's
Unless she comes back for Moonstruck, which you have seen.
in which case it's
Which
Amelia.
will
Would
be
be
me.
you.
But
Yes.
I was just going to say, let's pencil you in for the Titanic episode whenever that happens, too.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the Mrs.
You've never seen
Doubtfire
Titanic
episode.
either?
Never seen that.
There we go.
It just happens. A lot of 90s Best Picture winners at the Oscars I have not seen. There's only two I have, which are The Silence of the Lambs and American Beauty.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you want to tell the listeners where they can find you and
Just,
what's up?
I'm on TikTok, jamie.homs, JAMIE.HOMS, and just watch my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Watch
it's
my
great
videos.
stuff.
It's fantastic.
Thank you.
It's
Appreciate it.
it's really fun. You're very lighthearted, but you also bring the perspective of somebody who really loves movies, and you have a like encyclopedic command of movies. So there's a lot to learn, I think, from following Jamie.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for having me. This
Absolutely.
is just as fun as the last time. You
Yay.
guys are awesome.
Should we say a little bit about what we're covering next?
Yeah. So, Emilio, you suggested this movie. Julian, you suggested Carol, which we discussed last time. So my pick is next. So we are going to be discussing our first anime film next time we're here. We're going to discuss Tokyo Godfathers from 2003, directed by Satoshi Kon,
Jamie is
so good.
nodding
Absolutely.
a lot.
which I'm the only one that will be coming into this conversation having seen this. It's new to both of them.
Yeah.
And I am so excited for you guys to watch it.
This will be my first Satoshi Kon movie, too.
It will
Yeah.
be
Time
mine
coming.
as well.
Well, there's only 4. He
Yeah.
passes away very young. So I think his entire short filmography is all bangers. And I think this is a film that I watched for the first time last holiday season and instantly fell in love with. It takes place between the week of like Christmas and New Year's. So I think you can look at it as a general holiday movie, either Christmassy or New Year's Eve. I'm really excited for you guys to see it.
I'm excited to see it.
I'm excited to see it too.
Sweet.
Very cool. In addition to this podcast, you can follow us on TikTok and on Instagram at Sleepless Cinematic Pod. You can contact us via email as well. We would love to hear from you. You can write to us at sleeplesscinematicpod@gmail.com. I am not on Letterboxd. Are you on Letterboxd? Is it also Jamie?
It's
Holmes?
Jamie Holmes, no dot.
Cool. I'm not on Letterboxd. You guys are though, right?
Yes.
I am. You can follow me at patronessofcats.
And you can follow me, Julian, at Julian_Barthold. Just my name with an underscore. If you are listening to us for the first time, thank you for finding us. If this is the second or third or 30th time you've listened to us, thank you for sticking with us. We have really grown to love doing this, and it means the world to have our budding listenership grow.
And if you haven't already, we ask you, return listener, to please write us a positive review and rate us on your podcast platform of choice. This is one of the best ways for new listeners to find us and help our podcast take its next steps. You can also keep it grassroots and tell a friend to tell a friend about the Sleepless Cinematic Podcast. That helps too.
Julian, you normally do this, but I got one.
Oh, I've got one too. Keep the change, you filthy animal.
I don't live here.